Good afternoon. I want to welcome everyone to our regular Board of Trustees meeting. Anyone listening in on Zoom can get a
Can anybody hear me?
yes, doctor, we can hear you. John, we can hear you. Can you hear us? No? Okay, gotta fix it.
Can you hear us now, sir?
Oh,
Can
there
you
we
hear-
go.
You can hear us now, John?
Now I can hear you.
Well, good, that helps. Anybody
Yes,
else that
that's-
wants to hear us, they can
Yeah,
go
I
to
failed my lip reading
YouTube
class.
and refer to the link, https, semicolon, www.youtube.com//user/go EPCC. I want to call this meeting to order. Pam, can you take the roll call?
Yes, sir. Mrs. Robles will not be present this evening. Mr. Uxer,
Here, more or less.
Ms. Pena. Ms. Pena.
Present. Hello.
Ms. Sanchez.
Here.
Dr. Graham.
Here.
Ms. Naheda.
Present.
Mr. Haggerty.
Here. And before we get started, Mr. Flores, could you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay. Okay, Pam, 1.4.
Item 1.4, approval of minutes. We have none this month. Item 1.5, welcome to guests and staff members.
Okay. 1.6, open forum. Did anybody sign up
No one has signed up, sir.
for open forum? Okay.
Item 1.7, presentations by individuals, groups, and organizations. Item 1.7.1, Dr. William Sarata, college president, will recognize individuals who have retired from the college district.
Chair Haggerty, members of the board, I'd like to recognize Ms. Laura Beltran for her 29 years of exemplary service to El Paso Community College. Mrs. Beltran began her remarkable journey at El Paso Community College in 1993 as a part-time staff student services assistant. Eager to grow and advance in her career, she transitioned to a full-time employee as a job placement specialist, then to a career specialist, ending her journey as a career and transfer service specialist with the Career and Transfer Services team. Mrs. Beltran's commitment to serving students is one of her most significant accomplishments at EPCC. Not only did Mrs. Beltran help students, but she took many lessons from them. In particular, she admired and learned from her students' perseverance. In addition, she is proud of assisting her students on their journey to find the right career path. Often, students would come into the office a bit lost and doubting themselves about their career path. Assisting students with career exploration was the most rewarding aspect of her job, since it is where her work contributed to the student's life and journey in the workforce would begin. She would encourage and motivate students and give them the confidence to realize that the sky is the limit. Her mottos to students was that they could and would accomplish anything they wanted. Mrs. Beltran appreciates her journey at EPCC, will cherish her experiences, and will miss her friends and coworkers. Upon her retirement, Mrs. Beltran plans on spending time with her family, visiting family out of town, and attending estate sales. She is proud of her strong support from her husband, son, and siblings, without whom she would not have been able to have this successful career. The Board of Trustees and I thank Ms. Beltran for her dedication and devotion to the students and families she has served throughout her 29-year career. Congratulations and best wishes, Ms. Beltran.
not good, but good.
Point 7.2.
Item 1.7.2, Dr. Abigail Tarango, Executive Director of the University Medical Center and El Paso Children's Hospital Foundation, along with UMC leadership, will provide information regarding the capacity of care bond request.
Good afternoon, Board of Trustees. It's really, really nice to see you. It's been a long time. We're so thankful for the opportunity. We are coming to you on behalf of our CEO and President, Jacob Cintron, and his leadership staff that is here in the audience. We have the Chief Strategy Officer, John Law, who will be introducing the introductory pieces of the Capacity for Care Bond, as well as Mr. Michael Nunez, the CFO for El Paso County Hospital District. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you for your time today. I want to share with you the request that we're making through a certificate of obligation. I think the different projects we're looking at will impact your students as well as the community in general. We thought it would be a good time to share this with you. If we could go to the next slide, or I guess I have control, don't I? Excellent. So the projects that we're looking at are in 5 different categories, and I'm going to walk through each of these project areas with you. The total request is $345.7 million, and we'll be going to the Commissioners Court on September 12th for their vote on the certificate of obligation. As we look at these projects, there's a couple things I want you to keep in mind. As a teaching hospital, a number of academic institutions, including your own, have students working in and learning in our facilities, and in particular, not only yours, but also Texas Tech's. And these facilities will offer new opportunities for student training and development to continue to build our medical infrastructure in the community. The other point that we'd like you to keep in mind is if you can take a look at this graph, this shows you on an annual basis and then forecasted and budgeted into the future what we actually spend. And this is our cost on uncompensated care each year. The red line or the red bar is our actual costs. The green bar is what we receive in property taxes. And then the gray bar is the difference. So on an annual basis, we are working very hard to basically earn the additional 100 million plus that we need to make our budget whole. And some of these projects will involve having patients that are both insured and uninsured, and that balance is really key for the hospital district to be sustainable. Oops, I just lost it. So the first bucket of projects involves our critical care beds at UMC, and we have 60 critical care beds. These are the beds that are for the sickest patients that we have, and on a routine basis, we are having more patients than we have beds. So for example, this morning we had 71 patients that ideally would be admitted into these beds. And you know, this is a challenge for a number of reasons. One of the challenges Thanks. There we go. One of the challenges is that when these patients can't be placed into beds, they are held in our emergency room. That's the next safest places for them. So this morning we were holding 15 patients in our emergency room. The emergency room holds up to 48 patients. Over the last couple of weeks, we've had several days where we've been holding 20, 25, 30 patients in the emergency room. So having these patients being held has an impact on the efficiency of the emergency room and its ability to serve the community. The other issue that's a concern is that when we're this full, there are cases where we cannot accept transfers from other hospitals. As I'm sure you know, we're the level 1 trauma facility here in the community, and 47% of the traumas we receive come from other hospitals. Hospitals here in El Paso as well as hospitals in southern New Mexico. And so when we start to reach this capacity, we're not able to receive those transfers, which are being made to us because a higher level of care is needed, the kind of care that we have through our level 1 trauma center. So you can see here what the cost of the specific projects are to expand these critical care beds. The second area where we're having challenges is in outpatient, well, it's inpatient and outpatient surgical capacity. The graph on the left side, if you follow the orange line, it shows you what percent of our outpatient surgical minutes are being done after hours and on the weekend. So going back to 2015, we've seen growth right now up to 25% of our same-day or outpatient surgeries are being done off-peak. And there's a number of reasons why this is problematic. One is, especially if you're the patient and you've been fasting and your surgery gets bumped to later in the day, that's not a pleasing experience. From the sustainability model that I showed you on the previous graph, while we have this going on, we believe we're starting to lose out on some insured patients who want to have their surgery scheduled during the day, which is reasonable. There's a negative impact on the surgeons and our staff who also want to have more of a routine schedule and not be working into the evening. And then there's also a financial cost because we're paying overtime for anesthesia teams and for our surgical teams. So what we're proposing is to add 9 operating rooms to our system. 3 of those operating rooms would be at the main hospital. 1 would be a hybrid operating room. This is a specific type of operating room where a minimally invasive procedure can be done and a surgery can be done in the same room. And by having a hybrid room, we're able to do cases that we currently have the expertise to do. We just don't have the hybrid space to conduct. And so that's a real key addition. All the other hospital systems in the El Paso area have this type of OR room. And so we see it as a priority for us to have it as well. We're also looking to add a burn surgery operating room. Right now, if an individual has a major or a severe burn, there is no burn center in El Paso that can provide the care they need. So if the patient is an adult, they're typically sent to Lubbock. If it's a child, they're typically sent to Galveston. And as you can imagine, this puts a big burden on the families to be with their loved one and be able to support their patient who is in really a very complex and challenging area of care. By adding a burn surgery operating room, it's part of the infrastructure we need to become a burn center, and our goal is to become an American Burn Association accredited burn center, and we're working towards that. We also would like to build an ambulatory surgical center that would be in the area of UMC's hospital. This is really critical. A lot of surgeries now are moving to these types of outpatient centers where surgeries are being done outside of the hospital itself. And it's critical for our patients so they can get access to these surgeries. It relates to the graph I showed you on the previous slide, but the other impact is on Texas Tech. They have multiple surgical departments that need to work in this type of environment. So for example, the chair of orthopedics, I've had several conversations with him. He's trying to recruit faculty that would do surgeries in an ambulatory surgical center, but we aren't able to offer that space for his faculty. So areas like urology, gynecology, orthopedics, these are all specialties where this type of surgical space is really important for the recruitment of faculty and the training of our future physicians. The third bucket or group of projects is a clinic in the central neighborhood area. I don't know if you've had an opportunity to go to our clinics either on Joe Battle or out on the west side off of I-10, but this clinic would resemble those. These clinics have been very successful. We've seen amazing volume at both locations, and we expect the same to happen in the UMC area or the Medical Center of the Americas area. The clinics have pharmacy, they have a lab, and they have a imaging capacity inside the clinic, which makes them really helpful for patients. They can get a lot of things done in one stop. We also want to add an urgent care center at this location. We want to do this for 2 reasons. One is it helps the emergency department to be more efficient if patients who don't need an emergency room can go to an urgent care center. Also, another reason that we're interested in doing this is because of the lack of urgent care centers in the Mission Valley. So the map you see in the lower left corner, the yellow line that kind of goes to the middle is I-10. The parallel line that is kind of closer to the left of the graph is the border. And you can see that whole corridor, for the most part, does not have an urgent care center, and likely needs more than one over time. The fourth group of projects involves El Paso Children's Hospital. When the hospital was built, the 8th floor was actually built as a shell and was intended to be built at a later time when it was needed. It's needed now. We're starting to see the types of volume that require additional beds at the Children's Hospital. And this 8th floor is essentially shovel-ready. We have the architectural work already done. It's ready to go. We also need to expand the emergency department. The volume that's going to the Children's Emergency Department is really significant, and so that's what's being proposed here. We also are proposing to build a catheterization lab. We're seeing increasing, well, Children's has built its capacity in pediatric cardiology, and the increased volume is requiring need for this type of lab. The fifth project area is in the area of cancer, and we work with a national firm that works with hospitals all around the country, and something they've told us for over 5 years is that the biggest gap in healthcare in El Paso is cancer care. And we've even done some interviews with El Pasoans to try to understand what's going on in our market. And when we ask the question, where's the best place to get cancer care in El Paso, the answer often is Houston, just because of the gaps in care here. So our vision is to build a comprehensive cancer center where patients can get all of the forms of treatment in one location. Right now, none of our healthcare systems have all of the more major modalities of treatment. So the patient would have to go to different locations and different organizations to get the care they may need. The other thing that we want to do is really provide the full spectrum of care. So not just the treatment itself. Often the patients have other social, economic challenges tied to their care. And then aftercare is a big component for survivors. If you look at the map on the left, this is all of the National Cancer Institute cancer centers and comprehensive cancer centers. 60 of the 65 are associated with an academic medical center like we are with Texas Tech. And so it's really the type, to build this type of center will typically require this kind of academic partnership. There's some other projects. There's imaging that would go into the hospital and our Eastside Clinic, information technology to support these projects, and then some property and land acquisitions that are described here. I'm going to hand the mic over to my colleague, Michael Nunez, and he's going to explain the costs.
Good afternoon, everybody. John went ahead and talked about the need for these programs. Now I'm going to talk about the cost. Now, in terms of the cost, about a third of this project is going to be equipment related, and then the 2/3 of it is going to be what we call bricks and mortar. So because of that, we went ahead and structured the debt in 2 separate phases, one for the equipment, which is over 10 years, and then the bricks and mortar, which over 25 years. Now, this was using back in June 22nd, what the interest rates were back at the end of June, and then assuming a 50 basis point cushion in the event of, because the earliest that we would be able to go out for a bond sale would be late October, early November. So with that, for every $100,000 in property value, taxpayers can expect to pay for the first 10 years because of the equipment component and the bricks and mortar component, about $57 annually, or about $4.73 monthly. In years 11 through 25, because once the equipment is paid off and now we are paying on the bricks and mortar, that would drop down to about $29 annually, or about $2.39 monthly. Now, because of the tax cycle that we are all in right now, if approved on September 12th, the earliest that we could go to bond sale would be the end of October, early November. This property tax rate impact will not begin until October 1 of 2023, which is about 15 months from now. Now, one of the things that we are keeping our tabs on is the cost of money, or inflation. Now, back in mid-June, the Federal Reserve Board did increase, albeit short-term interest rates, but it does have an impact on long-term interest rates by about 75 basis points. And today, the Federal Reserve Board increased interest rates by another 75 basis points, and it is expected, based upon the information that's being shared in September, when they do meet again, maybe another 50 basis point increase, and then in late October, early November, perhaps another 25 basis point increase, all in an effort to curb inflation. So currently, right now, one of the items that have been talked about, whether we go for bond sale now as a certificate of obligation, or if we go to a public vote, which the earliest would be in May, and with that would be a July of 2023 bond sale. Our financial analysts are saying that using from June 22nd to July 2023, the estimated debt service cost could increase as much as about $63 million. Again, that's just their estimates based upon what they're projecting out or what they're hearing, based upon the Federal Reserve Board action. The slide that I want to talk about, this is what the property tax bill is regarding the 5 taxing entities here in El Paso. You'll see it going from right to left. The El Paso School District is the highest at about 42%. City of El Paso, 29%. El Paso County, 15%. UMC, 8%. And then the El Paso Community College is right around 4%. Now, this is using the 20 and 21 tax rates in terms of what was approved by the taxing authorities. Now, looking at UMC, last year in 2021, our tax rate was 26.8 cents per $100, and we did decrease that to 25.8 cents. Now, based upon the information we just received from the Central Appraisal District on Monday regarding now the current year tax rate is management is going to be recommending to our board and to the Commissioners Court to obtain or to approve or ask for what's called the no new revenue rate, meaning that our tax rate is probably going to decrease by another 2.3 cents, going down to about 23.5 cents. So overall, in the last 2 years, UMC El Paso would have decreased the tax rate by about 3.3 cents.
Just a few final comments. We've done some analysis on the economic impact for the community. The projects are expected to add about 400 jobs at UMC and El Paso Children's. We expect it to also add jobs at Texas Tech, which we haven't included in this number. You can see the estimated $31 million impact on the local economy, as well as 850 construction jobs, which would have that one-time impact on the economy. And I just want to say thank you again for your time today and letting us participate in your agenda. We do have a website called capacityforcare.com, and we're open to answering any questions, but I know you have a full agenda, and we certainly encourage any feedback or thoughts that you may have at a later time, if that's best.
I guess my question is for Mr. Ortega. Are we okay asking questions? Is this an agenda item that we can ask questions? Okay. So I guess my question is, sir, because I've been visited by 3 different people at home asking, and I didn't know the answer. I could send them your way, but why this is not something that's being considered to be put out to the voters, because I share their concern that we don't even know how much money the city and the county have under certificates of obligation. And do you know the amount?
The city and county? No idea.
How much certificates of obligation are we indebted to?
In the city and the county, I don't know that. I don't know, do you know?
No, I do not.
No.
So El Paso, we just keep adding certificates of obligation, and then, the taxpayers are the ones that...
We were having discussions about these projects with the county commissioners back in 2019 and early 2020. And unfortunately, when the pandemic hit us, we were clear that was not a time to bring these requests to the community. So now in particular, we're seeing the bed challenges and the other challenges are hitting more of a crisis level, and that's one of the reasons why we're moving forward right now.
So now that inflation is the way it is, this is the best time to bring it up?
Well, from the pandemic experience and now inflation, I think we recognize that it doesn't seem like there's a good time. And we understand that other taxing entities have also had bonds, but this is the time when we need to move forward. I think my CEO wants to say a few words.
Hello, Jacob Cintron, President and CEO of the Hospital District. There's never a good time to raise taxes. When we were looking at this issue facing us pre-COVID, once COVID hit, we knew employers were closing businesses, people were losing their jobs. That was not the time to raise taxes. So for about 2.5 years, pardon me, as we dealt with the pandemic crisis, we have continued to see an increase in our patient volume. Not knowing whether part of that was because of COVID, we held off, and not knowing, what the situation economically would be, we held off. But I will tell you that, for example, today we have 17 patients in the hospital with COVID. So our bed crunch is not based on COVID patients. So to your point, it's an increase in property tax. So roughly, we expect that the increase, since we're only about 8.28 cents, and we'll actually go lower because we're lowering our tax rate for the no new revenue rate for our budget, the incremental impact to the overall tax dollar is going to be under 2%. And the thing we think about, much as you as a board for El Paso Community College think about, is you weigh the cost of the impact of the taxpayer, but also the benefit from the things you're doing, and in our case, providing health care. We are El Paso's hospital. We are owned by the citizens of El Paso. We provide care for those that have nowhere else to go. And so when patients are having to wait in a waiting room, waiting to be for a treatment bed, or they're waiting in an ER treatment bed, awaiting a critical care bed, the drive for us to do it now is that our patients deserve certainly better access to some of the treatment that they should be getting. And so when we look at the impact on, the geriatric population that may not have access to specific care, part of this geriatric clinic that we're looking at also adds us hiring 2 geriatricians. We already have them on board. When you look at a hybrid OR, every hospital system in El Paso has one except for us. We're not only a teaching hospital where young doctors are learning to be doctors and to specialize in their care, we are the community's last place to go if you have no insurance. And so when you weigh the impact on the tax increase, which, by the way, the inflation, cost of gas, UMC was not responsible for any of that. We haven't asked for a bond for 9 years. And the bonds that we have asked for have been proven very successful. So our obligation is to make sure that we provide great care for our community. We ourselves don't raise the taxes, our commissioners do. So there are petitions going out there that may address issues that may not be accurately portrayed. And some are they exaggerate the impact. But we can tell you that we stand by what we're looking at doing. Our community needs it. Our physicians need it. And it's really beneficial for the community. But I don't know that there's any good time to come with a certificate of obligation to raise taxes.
But you didn't answer my question. Why is this not being put out to the voters? Or why haven't you done a better job informing the community so that people are more aware? Because, yes, the petitions are out there. I've seen 3. They have been left at my house, and I've met with several individuals about that. Everybody's lacking information, so it's not just the CCS saying, here, approve this, let's move forward with a certificate of obligation. There's
Right.
a lot of families that, $56 a year might not be too bad for you or for me, but there are, families out there like my daughter who's got 3 little ones, and she's a teacher on a fixed income, and, even $50 is a lot.
Understood. So when we looked at why the public might not have known all this information, they're knowing now. We were not going to talk to anybody until we
Not
do
the ones that I've been meeting with.
So when we presented to the county authorization to post notice for the certificate of obligation, we were to provide 45 days minimum of notice before that could be voted on. It actually started out to be about 70 days, and in that 70 days, we've been visiting different organizations and different groups to present the presentation you see today, and we are able to answer questions either during or after the presentations are made. As far as why not a public presentation? Because of the interest rates increase that are going on, including today, we know that if we wait till May, based on what the Federal Reserve has said would be interest increases, that the incremental debt service to the public would grow to about $62 million. So we can wait and go for a public vote, and then find that the debt service to the public is going to be an additional $62 million. And we can't answer about certificates of obligations done by the city or by the county. We can only answer about the certificates of obligations we have had done. And I will tell you that every item that we had on those certificate of obligations that have been authorized by the commissioners has proven to be very successful.
Can I just add another thing, Dr. Graham, I guess, to also put it to perspective in terms of, the community knowing about it. And it's an option, right? It's an illegal option that you can do a certificate of obligation, you can do a general obligation fund. There's other funding mechanisms for that. There is a concern, I share that concern with the public in terms of the taxes, that everybody's being hit hard. We are coming out of really an unprecedented time. I think for El Paso County, there's a lot of unique medical challenges that I think the presentation touched upon and addressed, right? So the information that UMC is putting forward is just that, information of what the need is, what they've identified as the need is. I think one of the things that we also have to keep in mind too is the process in terms of how this gets done. So you have UMC, the administration, who's been charged with looking at and making a determination, where is there a need, what do we need to address, what is lacking that this community needs, and in my opinion, in a lot of ways, deserves in terms of healthcare. I mean, and it's a long history, but also to know there's also another board that it looks and reviews at this, and the other board is the UMC Board of Managers. So that is your other board that is appointed by your Commissioner's Court that looks at this, that reviewed it, and then made the recommendation that we agree with this assessment. I don't know what the vote turned out to be, if it was unanimous or not. And then it goes to the Commissioner's Court for that second evaluation, which then goes through this period of time to take it on the road, if you will, to present it to the community. Lots of debate. I can imagine whether or not that's enough time. Lots of debate whether or not this touches and is communicated to everybody in this community. But in a lot of ways, we still sometimes have those challenges as a community with getting engaged with individuals to vote. That's why voting is important, so just do that plug right there. And also to participate in these meetings. Come out here and notify the public of what this is doing. So I think your questions are valid, and I think it's important that we have this discussion and that it's open for them to do it. But anyway, that's just some perspective on that. Like, it's not easy, but it's an identified need, and then we take it to the body to make that decision, which is then the Commissioner's Court, whether they move forward with that. So still opportunity for individuals to engage and to give their comments.
Thank you, ma'am.
I got a question. It says you're buying Texas Tech's properties. So are they going to get to come and do all their stuff for free, or why are we buying their buildings?
So Texas Tech is looking at the possibility of building another structure. And so part of what we're looking at is we have some land east of Reynolds that Texas Tech would like to use for the expansion of their educational and clinic campus.
Texas Tech is pretty rich. I think they can go buy their own land. Why are we? I don't get it.
We own the land. We purchased it before.
Okay,
So they're willing to buy the land from us.
Texas Tech, but we don't have to buy their buildings.
Well, the purpose of the buildings is if we, for example, in the construction, are looking at the part of the floor that the administrative offices are on, actually the whole floor is going to be converted to patient care.
One
So
floor.
There's an office
One
building.
floor for $54 million.
No, sir, these are based on what are estimated appraised values. But that one floor that we would vacate, the 8th floor at the Thomason Tower, would be used to expand patient care. And then we're looking at buying the administrative building
That's
behind it.
Thomason's Tower. I'm talking about the Texas Tech buildings. That's what you're saying you're buying, correct?
Well, we're proposing to buy. They don't have to sell.
Well, yeah, but you're going out for this money, so if they don't sell it, what are you going to do with the money?
Just pay it down the bond.
That would be something that, the other thing that really bothers me is all your little maps. You show nothing for Northeast El Paso. You got one on the west side, you got one on the east
They don't have
side.
medical
and
care.
Now we're gonna go into central, but there's nothing for the northeast.
So on the one hand, we're being told it's too high, and on the other, we're not doing enough.
I didn't say it was too high, I have
So
a question. Why are
I
you
will tell
buying your
you-
buildings?
I will tell you that if
And what
we
are they
had.
gonna do?
Right, if we had the ability, certainly, if you ask my personal opinion, We need a clinic, we need a hospital in Northeast El Paso. We need a clinic in Horizon, we need a clinic in Lower Valley. But again, look at the price tag, given what we need now for capacity. Those are things that are certainly areas that we want to grow in. We do have a clinic that's leased to Texas Tech up there. We also have a freestanding satellite ED. But I agree. I mean, so think of the needs that this community needs, that we need to fill.
I live in Northeast El Paso. I pay county taxes, and I'm not getting, I pay $30 or $20 for road and bridges. There are no road and bridges in Northeast, but I pay it. The front of my house hasn't been paved since 1979. So when's the county going to come out and pave my road?
I don't know.
Well,
I could only answer for the
This
hospital
is the
district.
problem.
but-
This is what I get at when I go out to meetings in Northeast. Why are we paying all this money and we don't get any of the, we pay taxes to the hospital, we pay taxes to the county, we pay for roads, but we don't get any.
Well, so we're not responsible for the roads, and I agree.
Sure, I understand,
But to be clear,
This is
for
what goes
Northeast,
into this, when you go out to ask voters that pay taxes, and you're saying, oh, this is only going to cost you $4. Okay. So there's another $4 I'm paying, and I get nothing for it.
well,
Whoopee,
not-
I want to
not-
run out and vote for
Exactly,
this.
but that's inaccurate. And I'll tell you how. If you look at the patients we service, there's some from Northeast that go to UMC. There's
Yeah,
some
you
from
have a
Northeast that go to the satellite ED.
have a UMC,
There's
yeah.
some from Northeast that go to our trauma center. There's some from Northeast that go to our services we offer on an inpatient basis. So to clarify, if you're from Northeast and you need care at the hospital or any of our clinics, we're not going to turn you away.
I didn't say
So-
that, but I have to go to the north, I have to
Well,
go
I
to the
understand,
west
but
side or
the-
the east
the
side
imp-
to get care.
The implication was people in Northeast get no benefit from UMC, but in fact, we provide care for all in the county and
You're
outside the
missing
region.
my point, and you know it. There's no facility. You're putting one on the east side and the west side, and now in the central area, but not in the northeast. So the person in the northeast has to come all over it. And I don't know how you come up with, who voted to put it in central?
Judge, let's focus on what they're asking for right now is, they can't, if it were up to me, I'd have one in Horizon, and have one in San Elizario, have one in Northeast.
I understand.
But look at they've already done the due diligence. They've already done, I mean, this is a presentation to show us what they have seen the need. I'm sure they didn't just come up and say, here's a number, let's just put one here, here, and there.
Anybody
That's-
that
They're
pays
doing it based on
taxes,
population.
they know.
So
They
let's just
know
focus
they
on
need
their
health.
presentation, listen to what they're saying.
I have
try-
listened to them.
Do a little bit more of
My
our
next-
homework,
my next-
and then
my
ask any
next-
other questions.
My next question is how much, because you're talking about capacity, how much is your capacity increased because of all the people coming across the border?
Really, about 24% of the people in the county aren't insured. The amount of people that come across the border to any of the hospitals, first and foremost, anybody coming to any emergency room with an emergency, by federal law, are required to be seen, and we know that. But I will tell you that, the number of people coming over that are from other countries that are here illegally is not as large as you think. And then the few that we do get,
I'm
homeless,
asking the question, what is it?
I don't know the exact number.
You don't know.
I don't know.
And how much is the federal government giving the county hospital to take care of these people?
They're giving us about 60% of the cost.
Okay, 60% of what, since you don't know what the population is?
Well, when we know the number of border jumpers, for example. I don't know if we have that on hand. We review that when they come across and get injured jumping the border wall. We and other hospitals receive these patients, and Homeland Security, with proper submittal of data, will reimburse us up to 60% of what our cost is.
Okay. So you don't know how much that's increasing your,
It changes every week.
well, I know, because it's whoever walks through the door. But you don't keep that statistic.
We do, but I don't have it with me. Be glad to provide it to you
Okay.
later this week if you like.
Okay, thank you. You've answered all my questions.
All right, well, thank you for your time.
Excuse me, Judge Haggerty?
Yes, sir.
This is John. I have, if you don't mind, electronically, I have a question. One of your earlier graphs showed that you have like I wish we could bring it up, but 300 and something million dollars of not covered, of which is about a third, looks like it's covered by O&M, or by taxes, but you have $100 million that says unreimbursed. Well, you all don't, I mean, it's unreimbursed out of your budget, but it's not unreimbursed. You're spending that money. Where does that money come from?
So, okay, so the slide that John was referring to with the red bar that showed the estimated uncompensated cost was a $200 million a year. We do get about $100 million in maintenance and operations property taxes. The other $100 million we make up from other revenue sources, patient revenue sources, Medicaid supplemental funding, other programs. So every year we know that we start off about $100 million negative, and it takes us the entire year just to get back to break even. So that it's paid for by other revenue sources, primarily patient service revenue, monies that we get from the federal government for uncompensated care, and then as well as the state programs that we have to cover Medicaid.
Okay, and I guess this is for the president or for all of you. I don't want to appear crass, crude, or uncaring, but have y'all approached the addition of all of these services to the extent of saying, statistically, we estimate that if we don't do this, X number more people are going to die? I mean, what you're doing is improving services and adding services, but if we don't do it, is 10 people, 100 people, 2,000 more people going to die if we don't do it? Have y'all ever made those kinds of estimates?
We have not estimated how many people are going to die if we don't do this.
Okay, that's curious. So what we're doing is we're improving services, the quality and the appearance, but our basic services now is that at least we're covering the sustenance of life, correct?
I didn't hear the last part of your question.
That's all right. You don't know you don't know what the effect is about keeping people, if people are going to actually be totally adverse by not doing this.
So what will happen is if we don't improve our capacity, then certainly people, either the services we offer may have to be limited. From the standpoint that if we, for example, have our beds tied up and other hospitals want to transfer their traumas to us as a higher level of care because it goes beyond what they're able to do, we may not be able to accept those. Now, what percentage of those would die, what percentage would be impacted, we don't have that. We hope that nobody dies, but there's always that risk.
But the expectation is that they'll be transferred. I mean, it'll become more and more inconvenient, but we're not able to draw the line saying that this is an absolute necessity for sustenance of life. We haven't looked at that.
We didn't calculate how many lives.
That gives a real urgency if you say, hey, X number of more people are going to die. That gives a real urgency as opposed to I'm going to make it more convenient.
We did not calculate how many people are going to die.
Okay.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 1.7.3, optional presentations will be made by the presidents of the Classified Staff Association, the Professional Staff Association, the Faculty Association, and the Student Government Association. I do have one report that was submitted and asked to be read at the meeting. Good afternoon, El Paso Community College Board of Trustee members, President Dr. Serrata, Cabinet members, Associate Vice Presidents, Deans, Directors present, and cyber audience. The Professional Staff Association and its members would like to thank the Board of Trustee members and Dr. Serrata for the additional incentive payments recently awarded to our eligible full-time and part-time faculty and staff. We have faced many obstacles, including a pandemic, but our employees have and will continue the teamwork and dedication to fulfill the college's mission. The personnel in this institution will continue to provide our community with top educational learning experiences for a better future and a more successful social economic outcome. We ask that you consider a higher pay increase due to the continuing soaring inflation, increases in our property value that will be translated to an increase in property taxes, and an uncertain economy that our employees face daily. This was submitted by Ms. Grace Arives, who is the president of the Professional Staff Association.
Well, I'm not going to take anywhere near as long as those hospital people. Trustees, Mr. President, Vice Presidents, Deans, guests in the room, all you YouTubers out there. To follow up on what you just read, I was going over my pay stub from July 25. Happened to notice it was quite a bit higher than usual. Checking the stub more closely, I noticed the $2,500 incentive pay. Yay! Once again, on behalf of all the faculty who qualified for this one-time payment, I would like to thank all the administrators involved who proposed the incentive and made it happen. I'd like to thank the Board of Trustees for approving it. The faculty is greatly appreciative. Thank you. That's it.
Students.
Item 1.8, Communications. Item 1.8.1, Discussion and review by the Board of Trustees of data, statistics, policies, and general information related to the college district. Item 1.8.1.1, Ms. Tony Badillo, Dean of Dual Credit and Early College High Schools, will provide an update of the Early College High School program at EPCC.
Good evening, Chair Haggerty, Dr. Serrata, members of the board. Thank you for this opportunity to come before you every year to update you on our Early College High School program. As you can see, we have grown so much that I did not invite our principals as I have done in the past because we will probably fill half the room, maybe in a future meeting. So there has been a question about what is the difference between Early College High School and PTEX. And so both are college and career readiness school models, CCRSM schools, that target underrepresented students in higher education at risk of dropping out of school or who might not otherwise go to college. So they both have the same goal. Our early college high schools that we started back in 2006, the goal is an Associate of Arts, an Associate of Science, or an Associate of Arts in Teaching before high school graduation. Our PTEX, again, early college high schools, but Pathways in Technology early college high schools, are also targeting an award from EPCC, but in addition to an associate's degree, students have the opportunity to earn a certificate of completion and or an industry certification. PTEX have a third partner, which is a business or industry partner. Since 2008, we continue holding meetings every semester of the Early College High School Leadership Council. And again, to support our early colleges, we have more and more partners every time. This, of course, includes EPCC, ISDs, high school administrators, TEA, and UTEP representatives. And as I said before, we meet twice a year. So I wanted us to, in this presentation, to go back in time a little bit and remember what things were like in 2001. So in 2001, 1% of our student population was high school students. We didn't have early college high schools yet. 10 years later, right, we had 11% of our population being dual credit students and only 4% early college high school students. 10 years later, things have changed significantly. About a third of our population is high school students, and early college high school students have gained on dual credit students. Lots of successes, right, that we have discussed through the years. So since 2009, we have had 5,129 students who have earned an associate's degree before high school graduation. And please note that I put an asterisk after 2009 because that was actually a year before schedule, right? The first cohort of Mission Early College High School was scheduled to graduate 2010, and we had 23 students that graduated a whole year early. 68.48 of our students earn an associate's degree before high school graduation. We dropped a little bit. If you remember last year's, our percentage was 71%. I have to say that I was expecting even a more significant decrease, so I'm happy. I think Dr. Serrata is also happy to see that we didn't drop more. Former early college high school students have an EPCC graduation rate twice as high than dual credit students, and 4 times higher than those who did not take college courses while in high school. This is tremendous, right? The impact of taking college courses while in high school is tremendous for our community. And of course, you know, we have a very close partnership with UTEP and we share data. And so we know that those who transfer to UTEP are 3 times more likely to graduate from the university in 4 years, have a higher GPA, and have higher rates of matriculation into graduate school. So all in all, tremendous success for early college high school students. By 2023, next fall, we will have 18 early college high schools and 18 PTECs partnering with these 8 districts. So this time, I'm organizing the presentation by district, hopefully changing things a little bit for you. So in alphabetical order, in Canutillo ISD, we have 1 early college, Northwest Early College High School, opened in 2008. Dr. Tena is the administrative liaison, and Ms. Jessica Arellano, the principal. So far, we've had 543 graduates. For Clint ISD, we have 4 schools. Clint ISD Early College Academy, that opened in 2012. Dean Bruce is the administrative liaison, and Ms. Garza is the principal. We've had so far 441 graduates. Clint High School PTEC, our first PTEC in automotive technology, opened in 2019 with Dr. Pagel as the administrative liaison and Dr. Ritchie, the principal. We don't have graduates yet, but we're expecting them in 2023. 2 new PTECs that opened in 2021. Horizon PTEC with a focus on cybersecurity. Dr. Pagel and Ms. Acosta are the leads. Again, we won't have graduates till 2025. And also the same year, we opened Mountain View PTEC in pre-nursing and EMT. Dr. Hajar is the administrative liaison, and Mr. Trejo, the principal. So we're expecting more graduates, right? As we continue, we're just going to see more and more graduates. This is so exciting. With El Paso ISD, we actually have 11 schools. TMEX, Trans Mountain Early College High School. Dean Webb is the administrative liaison, and Ms. Brinkley Lopez, the principal. We already have 865 graduates. This is an early college that was originally, if you remember, a T-STEM academy as well, so the focus has been on earning Associate of Science degrees. We have Burgess Early College High School, opened in 2014, our very first school within a school, Early College High School. Currently, Dean Guerra is the administrative liaison, and Mr. Iturral, the principal. We've had 279 graduates so far. And here comes the PTECs, right, opening in 2021. As you may remember from the MOUs that we have presented to you, we have Coronado PTEC, this one focusing on business and accounting. Dr. Tena, the administrative liaison, and Mr. Escareño, the principal. Same year, El Paso High School PTEC, the focus is computer science and IT, Dr. Pagel and Ms. Rocha, Dr. Rocha. Franklin High School PTEC, also pre-nursing EMT, Dr. Hajar and Ms. Bowser, the leads. Jefferson High School PTEC, also pre-nursing and EMT with Dr. Hajar and Ms. Vega. And in 2022, opening this fall, right? Andrews High School PTEC that has a teacher prep pathway, Dean Webb and Mr. Manago. Austin High School, Computer Science and IT, with Dr. Pagel and Ms. Severance Ponce. Bowie High School P-Tech, also teacher prep, Dean Webb and Ms. Gandarilla are the leads. Chapin High School, P-Tech, Computer Science and IT, Dr. Pagel and Ms. Chappelle, and Irvine High School P-Tech, Pre-Nursing EMT, Dean Hajar, Dr. Hajar, and Mr. Stives are the leads. Again, these opening this fall. Fabens ISD, we have two schools. We have Cotton Valley Early College at Fabens High School. You actually have on your agenda the renewal of the MOU for that school. It opened in 2010. Dean Villalobos and Ms. Villarreal are the leads. We have 296 graduates so far. And Fabens P-Tech, Diesel Technology, Dr. Valerio and Ms. Huerta, the leads for that school. We're expecting graduates in 2024. San Elizario opened in the middle of the pandemic. We opened an early college high school in San Elizario. Dean Villalobos and Ms. Marioni, the leads for that, expecting graduates in 2025. Socorro ISD, we have 8 schools. Of course, our first, Mission Early College High School, Dean Villalobos and Mr. Ortega, the leads, with 1,238 graduates. Socorro Early College, the first school within a school in that district, opened in 2015. Dean Rodarte and Miserta Gerardo are the leads, with 179 graduates so far. Rams Early College opened in 2016. Dean Rodarte and Ms. Coria are the leads, 196 graduates so far. Trailblazers Early College in 2017, and with 150 graduates. Dean Villalobos and Mr. Gomez are the leads. And Empire Early College opening in 2019. Dean Guerra and Ms. Matsuda are the leaders of that school. In 2023, we're expecting graduates. So if you remember, we opened several schools that year. So in 2019, we also opened Falcon Early College. Dean Bruce and Ms. Duncan are the leads. And I did put a little asterisk there in 2023 because although they're not expected to have graduates till then, we already had 3 graduates this May from Falcon Early College, a whole year ahead of schedule. And we also in 2019 opened Pebble Hills Early College. Mr. Guerra, Dean Guerra, and Mr. Talamantes are the leads, expecting graduates in 2023. And the first P-Tech with Socorro ISD opening this fall, Synergy for P-Tech, Biology, Pre-Nursing EMT, with Dean Rodarte and Mr. Rivera leading the effort. We have 3 schools in the planning year, hoping to open in 2023, Empire P-Tech, Falcon P-Tech, and Spartan P-Tech at El Dorado, East Lake, and Pebble Hills, respectively. And teacher prep, criminal justice, teacher prep, computer science and IT, teacher prep and business. Socorro ISD is really trying to build up that teaching pathway for the district. Tornillo, we have 1 early college, Tornillo Early College High School. Dean Kirby and Ms. Otero are leading the effort, expecting graduates in 2024. And Isleta ISD with 4 schools, Valle Verde Early College High School, our second school, opened in 2007. Dean Bruce and Ms. Bankston are leading the efforts with 754 graduates. Parkland Early College High School, which we opened in 2017. Dean Mann and Mr. Ellsworth are leading that school with 81 graduates. And the same year, we opened Isleta High School Early College Academy, and I have the pleasure of working with Mr. Ortiz in that school. We've had 100 graduates so far. And we opened in 2020, James Hanks Early College High School. Dean Meager and Mr. Lopez are leading the effort. We're expecting graduates in 2024. So I come to you when there's questions. Usually they come about high school students. They usually come to me, but I really want to emphasize that there's a whole team of people working to make sure that this is a successful effort. So I really want to thank our EPCC early college high school counselors. Of course, Mr. Chavez is a counseling coordinator, but look at all those people. All of those are EPCC counselors led by Dr. Mitchell, assigned to an early college high school to make sure that students are on track, that they are ready to graduate, and support them in that effort. We have faculty liaisons that work closely with the deans that serve as administrative liaisons, and to make sure that all of those advisory committee meetings are set up, that there's any questions, they're there to support them. I have to acknowledge my team, my office, Olaya Cázares, SP Gomez, and Carmen Rodriguez, who are fantastic. I always say, if I'm out one day, nothing happens. If they're out one day, we're in trouble. They really hold things together. We have, of course, our student and enrollment services led by Dr. La Chica Chavez, Ms. Hermosillo, Ms. Fasolino, Ms. Jaramillo, Ms. Salas, Ms. Tapia, and Ms. Valadez are the specialists who manually register students, right? All of those high school students, they're fantastic. We have our dual credit instructional coordinators, Lorena Gonzalez and the fabulous Sue Selk, who has been working on dual credit for many years. We have our dual credit instructional committee, so those handbooks that you see on the web, the procedures, even our webpage, dual credit webpage, all of that is the work of faculty and staff on this committee that work every year to make sure that things are up to date. Dual credit counselors, of course, Mr. Chavez, and my counselors, Celeste Cardoza-Comer, Dr. Selena Gomez, and Diana Medina. And thanks to the AREPO grant, I have 2 grant-funded dual credit advisors who are incredibly enthusiastic and are doing fantastic things, recruiting students in middle school to make sure that they start taking college courses while in high school, Catherine Guerra and Laura Cimental Medrano. And every one of our deans, faculty coordinators, and division office staff district-wide, because we all work together to make sure that things run smoothly. We do have our webpage, epcc.edu/academics/dual credit. People can connect with us virtually, talk to a counselor, email us, call us. We're ready to assist. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
How do you do it with Cathedral and Loreto?
We do a fantastic job with Cathedral, the private schools. We also have charter schools. They are not a designated early college high school through TEA. These are the only ones that are designated by TEA, but we support them. As you know, at graduation, we have quite a few Cathedral students walking the stage, and they're just not designated by TEA.
That's the only reason why they're not early college high schools, because TEA doesn't put their seal on it?
Well, they're considered an early college program, let's say, but not an early college high school. Yeah. But we provide the same services to them that we do to others.
Because when you give your presentation, you don't even mention that's another 2 high schools that you can add to the mix. It's not even mentioned.
Right. So they don't fall under this CCRSM TEA umbrella, but they're definitely our partners. You see our dual credit partnership agreements on the web with all of them. So we certainly provide services to all of them, charter schools, private schools. We even have homeschool students who can pursue dual credit.
Thank you. Any other questions?
I don't have a question, just congratulations. You've done an outstanding job along with all your staff, and it's been a challenge, but you're keeping up with it.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you for the great job you all have done.
Thank you.
Item 1.9, Board of Trustees business. Item 1.9.1, discussion and take possible action regarding the resolution authorizing the delegation of certain authority to Dr. William Serrata, College President, regarding the COVID-19 pandemic.
Anybody want to change the situation that we're in, or you want to keep it the same for the next 30 days?
Just think unless anybody has any concerns, we should just take no action on it and just keep it as is. I agree.
No action needed. Item 1.9.2, been advised by our legal that we should discuss this after executive session.
And item 1.9.3, discussion and take possible action regarding changing the Board of Trustees meeting dates.
Who put it on the agenda?
The president.
We did, Chair Haggerty. I have a conflict on the 24th of August. Have to be in Indianapolis for the Lumina Board meeting. And so we're suggesting to the board Tuesday, August the 30th.
So this is just for 1 month?
Yes, just one move, but we bring it to the board for you.
August what?
30th.
August 3rd?
30th.
30th.
Yes, sir.
Can we keep it to a Wednesday? I have conflicts on Tuesdays and Mondays.
31st is fine, Ms. Sanchez.
So it would be what day?
It would be Wednesday, August 31st, Dr. Graham.
I may be out of town, but that's okay. Dr. Graham will
No,
do
it's
a
not
great
okay.
job.
No, it's not okay.
Actually, there's a CAT board meeting as well that I might need to be at that same day.
I think you're going to
So
be in
that's the
Chicago.
31st.
How about the 29th?
The 29th as
That's
well,
not good
Ms.
for
Sanchez.
Christine.
You have Commissioners Court.
Why don't we not have a board meeting in August?
No, let's do it on the 29th. I will figure something out.
Do we need to take a vote on that item?
Can you make it on the
Yes.
29th, sir?
Well,
Can we make
she
it a
has
motion?
to be here because we have to have 4 of us here at the, unless we could get a special. What do we have to get? They let us do it during the pandemic. I don't know why we can't keep doing it.
To do what, Judge?
Huh?
To do what, I'm sorry?
They let us do it during the pandemic, that we could do it all by Zoom, but you're saying we have to have 4 bodies.
We have to have a physical quorum.
Okay, so, and who makes that decision?
The law.
Somebody changed it during the COVID
The
thing.
governor suspended.
So if we go to the governor's office and I say, Mr. Governor, we need to change our board meeting.
Would it help if we start later?
I don't understand the concept. It's like my court. We changed completely because of the COVID. We still do everything on Zoom, but nobody gave us a blessing, but it just seemed more convenient. I just don't understand the reasoning, is probably why.
I mean, that's the law, unfortunately. You have to have a physical quorum. So it's the 4 of you to be present in order for the other people to be able to remotely connect.
Okay. All right, so if we don't have 4, we won't have a meeting. That's just the way it is.
Sir, we will have 4.
Okay, okay. All right. We have a
Now you
motion?
count for 2.
We have a,
Did you hear what she said? Did you count for 2?
well, I'm as big as 2, I understand, but I don't think the governor would say I count as 2. Because then one of you would, then Mrs. Sanchez could go and we could just have me as 2 and you 2 and we'd have 4.
So, what are we saying? The 29th?
29.
So
29.
make a motion that we move the August board meeting to August 29th.
Second.
Any discussion? Call the question?
Mr. Uxer,
Aye.
Ms. Pena, Ms. Pena, Ms. Sanchez.
Aye.
Dr. Graham,
Aye.
Ms. Naheda,
Aye.
Mr. Hackerty.
Aye.
Did she say
Said aye.
aye? Okay.
Aye. She said aye.
Okay. What?
I think she said aye.
Okay.
That was-
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Pena, did you vote
Can you
aye?
hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Aye?
Thank you.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Item 1.10, Board Reports. Item 1.10.1, Treasurer's Report. No action is required. It's for the June 30th. Item 1.10.2, President's Report. Item 1.10.2.1, Dr. William Serrata, College President, will update the Board of Trustees and audience on recent events that have transpired at the college to include an update on the COVID-19 pandemic and appropriate actions taken.
Chair Haggerty and members of the board, want to start my report by congratulating Mr. Ramon Benavides, a biology teacher at Del Valle High School and a dual credit biology instructor at EPCC, for being recognized as the 2022 Texas Teacher of the Year. The Texas Teacher of the Year program has honored excellence in education since 1969, and it recognizes and rewards teachers who have demonstrated outstanding leadership and excellence in teaching. Mr. Benavides has taught at YASD as well as EPCC for 12 years. He holds a bachelor's degrees from both UT San Antonio and UT Brownsville, a master's degree from UTEP, and is earning a doctorate in educational leadership from Texas Tech University. Big congratulations to Mr. Benavides, and we wish him the best of luck as he will now go on to represent the state of Texas in the prestigious National Teacher of the Year competition. The El Paso Community College Foundation was awarded $10,000 for EPCC student scholarships by the El Paso Electric Company Partners Program. These scholarships will benefit EPCC students studying in computer science and cybersecurity fields. Full-time and part-time EPCC students majoring in high-demand technology fields will receive financial support through the foundation for tuition, books, academic supplies, and technology, and be able to continue their studies at EPCC with fewer financial challenges with these scholarships. A big thank you to El Paso Electric, Dr. Moe, Dr. Gross, and all who helped make this happen. The EPCC Community Education Program celebrated its graduation. Almost 100 students received their GED certification, and 94 students participated in the graduation ceremony. A big congratulations to all of the graduates. Congratulations to the 91st graduating class of the Law Enforcement Training Academy. EPCC is proud of your dedication to public service. We wish you the very best as you move forward. The college is once again providing backpacks filled with school supplies for 1,200 students at area elementary schools through its annual Service Learning School Store in partnership with the El Paso Community Foundation. This program ensures that all students are prepared for the new school year. We were excited to have kids back at the Rio Grande campus for the school store, and we wish them a successful new school year. Kudos to Ms. Shannon Baez, the coordinator for Service Learning Program, students, and all the volunteers that were able to take part in this effort. Since the last board meeting, I participated in about 40 virtual and/or in-person meetings, including 7 Texas Association of Community College meetings, a Community College Finance Steering Committee meeting, a TAC officers prep meeting, a TAC president CEO interviews, a TAC summer meeting. I attended a legislative panel with Representative Trent Ashby and Representative Ken King. Commissioner Keller provided a plenary session for the summer conference. Attended a workforce panel with Chair of the Texas Workforce Commission, Mr. Brian Daniel, and Justin Yancey, the President of the Texas Business Leadership Council. I'm happy to announce that the Texas Association of Community Colleges has appointed Ray Martinez III as the President and CEO. Martinez currently serves as the Deputy Commissioner for Academic Affairs and Workforce Education at the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board. He will begin his service at TAC on August the 22nd. Participated in the following meetings: Texas Student Success Council K through 12 Post-Secondary Linkages Work Group meeting, a Greater Texas Foundation Board Retreat Prep Call, Texas Student Success Council Joint Transfer and Workforce Work Group meeting, a Seal of Excelencia, recertification interview with Excelencia in Education, and I was joined by Dr. Smith, Dr. Amaya, and Dr. Moe. Attended the El Paso branch of the Dallas Federal Reserve Board of Directors meeting, during which we recommended the 75-point increase to interest rates that was approved yesterday. a Workforce Solution Borderplex General Board meeting, a Lumina strategy discussion with Jamie Marasotos, who serves as the CEO of the Lumina Foundation, and a Central Business Association luncheon with Senator Cesar Blanco. I want to thank Ms. Sanchez and Ms. Naira for representing the board at this particular luncheon that was held today. With regards to COVID, on July 7th, the city and county began to report COVID cases in a different manner. They continue to report daily cases, and we're currently averaging approximately 358 cases per day. The rolling 7-day average is no longer reported. The cumulative positivity rate is no longer reported. We currently stand at 82.6% of our population age 5 or older that are fully vaccinated, and 99.9% of our population having received at least their first vaccination. The 7-day average hospitalization rate is now reported daily. It currently stands at 5.21%. While the metrics have now shifted, and as we see with the new BA.5 variant, the number of daily cases is certainly increasing. However, the metric that appears to be the most significant is the 7-day average hospitalization rate, which currently stands just over 5%. The benchmark for this rate is 15%. Should we approach 15% in our community, then we will adjust accordingly. My recommendation to the Board of Trustees is that we move forward with Phase 4, our full capacity and participation of our return to campus plan effective Monday, August 15th, which is the day that faculty return to campus for the fall term. We will continue to monitor the data and keep the Board of Trustees informed of any recommended changes for your consideration.
Can you repeat to keep it at what, sir?
My recommendation to the board is to move forward with Phase 4 of our return to campus plan, which would be full capacity. I don't say a percentage, because there is always instances where there are certain employees or certain segments of the population that we allow or have moved forward through human resources and received that. But my recommendation to the board is that on the 15th of August, we return to full capacity and participation. And I'm happy to entertain any questions from any member of the board.
Anybody have any questions? Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay. Yep.
Item 1.11, consent docket. This includes item 3.2.
I have a motion.
Move to approve?
Second.
Any discussion? Call the question.
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Ms. Pena.
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez.
Aye.
Dr. Graham.
Aye.
Ms. Nahara.
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Item 2.0, administration. This includes the policies. Item 2.1, TASB local policy FFDA is presented for first reading and approval with added revisions.
Move to approve?
Second.
Any discussion? Call the question.
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Ms. Pena.
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez.
Aye.
Dr. Graham.
Aye.
Ms. Nahara.
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Item 2.2, TASB local policies CIA, CG, DGC, DHA, DHB, ECC, EDA are presented for second reading and approval.
Move to approve?
Second.
Any discussion? Call the question.
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Ms. Pena.
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez.
Aye.
Dr. Graham.
Aye.
Ms. Nahara.
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Item 3, personnel. Item 3.1, discussion and action to approve full-time staff and faculty recruited in positions funded by the institutional budget.
Move to approve?
Second?
Any discussion? Call the question.
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Ms. Pena,
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez,
Aye.
Dr. Graham,
Aye.
Ms. Naheda,
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Item 3.3, information items, resignations, and retirements. No action is required. Section 4, financial services. Item 4.1, this item has been advised that legal counsel will discuss after executive session. Item 4.2, discussion and action on the approval of contracts with several purchasing cooperative awarded vendors.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Any discussion? Call the question.
Mr. Uxer,
Aye.
Ms. Pena,
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez,
Aye.
Dr. Graham,
Aye.
Ms. Naheda,
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Item 4.3, discussion and action on the procurement of advertising services from various radio stations for fiscal year 2022-2023 in an amount not to exceed $300,000.
Move to approve?
Move to approve 4.3, 4.5, 4.6, and 4.7, please.
A second.
Second.
Go ahead and read all those, ma'am. He skipped over 4.4.
Yes, sir.
What about 4.4? Did you skip it?
Yes, all the four recommended are advertisement services proposed by VP Co. Ms. Mo, please.
Okay, let me read the remaining items. Item 4.5, discussion and action on the procurement of advertising services from various television stations for fiscal year 2022-2023 in an amount not to exceed $180,000. Item 4.6, discussion and action on the procurement of district-wide advertising services with several publication vendors for fiscal year 2022-2023 in an amount not to exceed $150,000. And item 4.7, discussion and action on the procurement of outdoor billboard advertising services from Clear Channel Outdoors for fiscal year 2022-2023 in an amount not to exceed $100,000.
Any discussion?
I have a question, please.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Ms. VP Mo, if I add those up, those four services generally fall in the general area of communication and advertising. You add them up, and that's $730,000. And for that kind of money, I wonder if you would explain maybe looking at those maybe on a cost-benefit ratio, or maybe talk about the philosophy, why we were expending so much money in those kind of things. Do we actually have a benefit to that?
Yes, I can address those questions, Mr. Uxer. Good evening, Dr. Serrata and Board of Trustees. So to give some background information on this, marketing and advertising has a couple of purposes. First, we want to promote awareness and visibility, not just to potential students, but also community-wide. And of course, create the desire and intent to enroll. What you see in the abstracts does in fact total $730,000 because we're proposing costs not to exceed. However, last year with the marketing budget, we only actually spent $290,000 on advertising. The reason we ask for more is to give us some flexibility because we are constantly doing that cost-benefit analysis, looking at the return on investment, and so we'll adjust. For example, we had to adjust our advertising during the times of COVID. We switched more to digital, more YouTube, where we could reach our intended audience. So we need some flexibility in where we're spending those advertising dollars. But the advertising from the marketing budget was $290,000. which is below average on what is spent nationally for community college, and it's less than 0.25% of EPCC's total budget. And we make selections, for example, our billboard placement, we put them on highly visible areas. Our I-10 billboards, for example, are seen by more than 500,000 people a week. And so we look at all these things. Our digital advertising, our click-through rate is 10 times the national average. So we look at all of these things when we're making our advertising buys to be ensure we're getting that return on the investment and we're using the taxpayer dollars wisely.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? All the questions?
Mr. Uxer,
Thank you.
Aye.
Ms. Pena,
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez,
Aye.
Dr. Graham,
Aye.
Ms. Naheda,
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Item 4.4, discussion and action on the approval of a contract with Reliable Government Solutions Incorporated for a mass notification system in the amount of $259,535 for 3 years total.
Move to approve?
Second.
Any discussion? Call the question.
Mr. Uxer,
Aye.
Ms. Pena,
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez,
Aye.
Dr. Graham,
Aye.
Ms. Naheda,
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Item 4.7, oh, I'm sorry, already done.
We voted on that.
Item 4.8,
You just voted on 4. We should be on 4.8.
yeah. Item 4.8, discussion and action on the approval of a contract renewal with Innovative Interfaces Incorporated for annual maintenance of the Sierra Library Services platform, which integrates all college library services in the amount of $84,872.
To have a motion.
Move to approve.
Second?
Any discussion? Call the question.
Mr. Uxer,
Aye.
Ms. Pena,
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez,
Aye.
Dr. Graham,
Aye.
Ms. Naheda,
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Section 5, physical facilities, there are none. Section 6, curriculum and instruction. Item 6.1, discussion and action on the approval of a contract renewal with GOBI Library Solutions from EBSCO to purchase library materials for EPCC libraries in the amount of $189,430.
Move to approve.
Second?
Any discussion? Call the question.
Mr. Uxer,
Aye.
Ms. Pena,
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez,
Aye.
Dr. Graham,
Aye.
Ms. Naheda,
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Item 6.2, discussion and action on the approval of a contract award to Pacific Research and Evaluation to provide comprehensive evaluation services for the district's Hispanic Serving Institutions Program Title V grant in the amount of $116,696.
Move to approve?
Second.
Any discussion? Call the question.
Mr. Uxer,
Aye.
Ms. Pena,
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez,
Aye.
Dr. Graham,
Aye.
Ms. Naheda,
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Item 6.3, discussion and action on the approval of a memorandum of understanding from the Workforce Solutions Borderplex via Grant Associates Incorporated in the amount of $110,705.
Move to approve.
Second?
Any discussion? Call the question.
Mr. Uxer,
Aye.
Ms. Pena,
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez,
Aye.
Dr. Graham,
Aye.
Ms. Naheda,
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Item 6.4, discussion and action on the approval of a contract renewal with online database and discovery service provider EBSCO for EPCC libraries in the amount of $52,357.
Move to approve?
Second?
Any discussion? Call the question.
Mr. Uxer,
Aye.
Ms. Pena,
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez,
Aye.
Dr. Graham,
Aye.
Ms. Naheda,
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Item 6.5, discussion and action on the acceptance of the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board Accelerate Student Success Planning Grant in the amount of $49,860.
Move to approve?
Second.
Any discussion? Call the question.
Mr. Uxer,
Aye.
Ms. Pena,
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez,
Aye.
Dr. Graham,
Aye.
Ms. Naheda,
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Item 6.6, discussion and action of the restated and amended Cotton Valley Early College at Fabens High School interlocal agreement.
Move to approve?
Second?
Any discussion? Call the question.
Mr. Uxer,
Aye.
Ms. Pena,
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez,
Aye.
Dr. Graham,
Aye.
Ms. Naheda,
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Section 7, Student Services, item 7.1, discussion and action on the approval of lease contracts with the Phoenix of El Paso for rental of apartments for the Intercollegiate Athletics Department in an amount not to exceed $80,000.
Move to approve?
Second?
Any discussion?
Are we buying?
You want to say something? Just say
Come on,
it.
Mr. Haggerty.
We're waiting for it.
Can't just let it go through without,
Why don't we just buy it?
why don't we just buy it?
You gotta have about 500 paid for, or that's beside the point. No discussion? Call the question.
Mr. Uxer,
You're kidding
I
me.
started to say I'd defer to Judge Haggerty, but aye.
Ms. Pena,
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez,
Aye.
Dr. Graham,
Aye.
Ms. Naheda,
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
No.
Item 7.2, discussion and action on the approval to award a contract to Motorola Solutions Incorporated for the purchase of radio equipment and installation in the amount of $53,925.
Move to approve?
Second?
I have a question. What is this for? For the officers, chief? Or why are we buying stuff from Motorola? It says Carlos Amaya. Are you on the, Dr. Maya, are you on the,
I'm on, Judge Haggerty, yes.
okay, what is this for radio equipment?
Yeah, so the police department has been in the process of improving their radios throughout the year. You might remember that we recently purchased some equipment to switch from analog to digital, and this is part of our improvement plan. So at ASC, there are some challenges to communication between the officers and also with our partners. So this is a proposal to improve that communication system.
I have a problem with it because in 911, found out that the cell phones was the best way to communicate. None of the radios worked. The towers came down. Why don't we just buy cell phones?
If Chief is there, I'll let Chief jump in and add some more context.
Good afternoon, everyone. Yes, sir, the cell phones would definitely work, but the radio system is really our primary means of communicating with all the officers. And we also have the ability to communicate with the El Paso Police Department.
Can't do that with a cell phone?
Yes, but it would really delay the communication. You know, imagine trying to remember numbers, trying to dial numbers, whereas in the radio, all you need to do is turn a couple of knobs and you're communicating with whoever you need to. As Dr. Amaya mentioned, this system would, again, it would greatly improve our communication, and we continue to improve our system. Here, we found out that there's a lot of dead spots in both buildings A and B, and this equipment would, you know, it's an attempt to reduce any potential dead spots that we have in the
The
communications.
equipment is antennas, is that what it is?
It's an antenna, it's a repeater, and a dish. Yes, sir. That will be used to bounce the signal from Valle Verde, and then from Valle Verde to the mountain.
All the way around the city?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Before we move on, I just wanted to congratulate Dr. Amaya. I didn't say it at the last meeting, but he was now the permanent Vice President of Student Enrollment Services. So didn't acknowledge that at the last meeting, so congratulations, Dr. Amaya. Nice to see you.
Thank you, Ms. Sanchez, I appreciate it.
Of course, the expectation went up even higher.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we have a motion and a second. We've had discussion. Any more discussion on this item? Call a question.
Mr. Uxer,
Aye.
Ms. Pena, Ms. Sanchez,
Aye.
Dr. Graham,
Aye.
Ms. Naheda,
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Item 7.3, discussion and action on the approval of continuing education tuition rates for new courses.
Motion to approve 7.3, 7.4.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Go ahead and read 7.4. Pam.
Item 7.4, discussion and action on the approval of continuing education tuition rates for revised courses.
Motion to approve. Oh, wait, did we already do this? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Any discussion? Call the question.
Mr. Uxer,
Aye.
Ms. Pena,
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez,
Aye.
Dr. Graham,
Aye.
Ms. Naheda,
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye. Executive session.
Section 8, community services, none. Would you like to go into executive session? Give me just a moment. The Board of Trustees may conduct an executive or closed session pursuant to Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code for one or more of the following reasons. 1, consultation with its attorney to seek or receive legal advice or consultation regarding pending or contemplated litigation or for any purpose authorized by law. 2, discussion about the value or transfer of real property. 3, discussion about a prospective gift or donation. 4, consideration of specific personnel matters. 5, discussion about security, personnel or devices. Or 6, discussion of certain economic development matters. The board may also announce it will go into executive session on any item listed on this agenda if the subject matter is permitted for a closed session by provisions of Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code. Any vote regarding these items shall be taken in open session. Item 1.3.1, discussion with legal counsel regarding pending litigation styled Martha Quinones versus El Paso County Community College District and Hector Ariola in the 448th Judicial District Court of El Paso County, Texas, cause number 2018 DCV 2171, pursuant to Section 551.071 of the Texas Government Code. Item 1.3.2, discussion with legal counsel regarding pending litigation styled Victor Perez versus El Paso County Community College District in the 120th Judicial District Court of El Paso County, Texas, cause number 2020 DCV 1105, pursuant to Section 551.071 of the Texas Government Code. Item 1.3.3, discussion with legal counsel regarding proposed amendment to professional services agreement pursuant to Section 551.071 of the Texas Government Code. The time is 6:14, and the board is now in executive session.
Okay, we are back in session. First thing we need to discuss is, we already discussed when we're going to have the board meeting, correct?
That is correct.
All
So
right.
the
we
first
have-
item is 1.9.2.
Motion to approve?
So I think I need to read it. Item 1.9.2, discussion and take possible action regarding proposed amendment to legal services agreement.
Oh, I have a motion for that one. So my motion's going to be, motion to amend the professional legal services agreement with Scott Hulse on any cases covered by the insurance carrier to charge the rates to reflect the rates approved by any insurance carrier returned by the district and the rate approved by the college, whatever amount is greater. And then also to allocate authority to the college president to work with legal counsel to make those changes. Did I get that right, Mr. Ortega? Good, okay.
Second.
That's my motion.
Any discussion?
Is there a second?
Call the question.
Mr. Uxer?
Thank you, Mama.
Mr. Uxer, are you on the line?
No,
Nope. Okay. Ms. Pena?
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez?
Aye.
Dr. Graham?
Aye.
Ms. Naheda?
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty?
Aye.
Okay, the next item is item 4.1. Give me 1 second. Discussion and action on the approval of a contract award to USI Southwest Incorporated for commercial property, automobile, general law enforcement, educators legal, and umbrella liability, excess crime, and crisis management insurance in an amount not to exceed $1,109,795.
A motion?
Motion to approve?
We have a second. Any discussions? Call the question.
I believe Mr. Uxer is still not on the line. Ms. Pena?
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez?
Aye.
Dr. Graham?
Aye.
Ms. Naheda?
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty?
Aye.
Okay.
We have a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we're adjourned.